I can't stand you touching me. Ah! 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 I'm John Renton with the retro review of Possession from 1981. It's available on Shudder. Get Shudder. Watch Possession. I'm not exactly sure I understood every goddamn thing that happened, but boy oh boy, this movie is well worth the wait. I did see edited versions of it, but this is pretty much the full course meal, and my god, what a full course meal it is. You've seen this movie, let me know your thoughts on it in the comments, because holy shit. There's a lot of history to dive into as far as this movie, and I'll talk about that, and since it's a retro review, there are going to be spoilers, at least what I can spoil. It's from writer-director Andraze Zulwowski. Pretty certain I totally butchered that. I believe this is only full-length English language movie. He did On Silver Globe, he did Cosmos. Cosmos I need to check out, actually. I heard good things about that. It was also written by Frederic Tooten. Toot. This was his only feature credit. I imagine that the director probably had most of the writing duties, but that being said, it stars Sam Neill, yes, the future Dr. Grant, also the future adult Damien, and the other Omen movies that I quite frankly don't count because they were dog shit, and the insanely gorgeous Isabelle Johnny, my goodness, take a look at her here. Take a look at her, as recently as a couple years ago, and she looks basically the same. She's fucking incredible. Apparently really good French genetics, as it were. They dominate her bloodstream and her, midichlorians and all that. No, this isn't Star Wars, because, no, this is definitely not Star Wars. This is really, really goddamn bizarre. She plays dual roles in a movie basically about a marriage totally dissolving for a variety of reasons. There's infidelity, there's just the fact that they don't love each other anymore. One loves one more than the other. One wants to do their own thing. One has been committing said infidelities. They have a son. They're trying to make things work for the son. Also, a lot of shit gets broken. A lot of weird stuff happens. A lot of synth score music. And a lot of sweeping camera work. And woo! Woo! Oh boy, that made me really goddamn... Oh shit, that was a bad idea. But that being said, it was stylish, with great synth music, very, very good cinematography. It was very, very bizarre, and I can absolutely see why Sam Neill and Isabelle Adjani had such issues getting over their roles, especially Isabelle. My goodness, I mean, Sam Neill, don't get me wrong, he was right there below her as far as the craziness, but this movie is flat out ridiculous and weird, and this is the kind of shit that I can get into where, yeah, it's like a lot of those Italian giallos, or however the hell you goddamn say it, or jellos, I don't actually know how you say it. One of my friends told me, I apologize for that, but that being said, this is just that kind of bizarre that just hits all the right notes. Does it make sense? Kinda. It kinda does. It's kind of like if The Omen was on steroids. That's kind of the best way I could describe it. So, let's get into the stuff about the movie. So, long-awaited access for a movie that basically had been banned from several countries or been heavily edited down. So, people have been able to view the full cut, but it had been a while. Edited cuts had happened. The extreme, way it was filmed as far as, diving into the roles, is not that the director-writer was unfair, it's just he wanted people to immerse themselves in his story, and by God, people did. And you can definitely tell there was a lot of Italian horror influence on this. I mean, a lot. And I mean that with respect, because there's a lot of great Italian horror out there. Something I need to retro review at some point. But both Isabelle and Sam, basically. Sam, who made the pants too long, by the way. That's probably why he got upset. That's right, I'm going to shoehorn that reference in. They mentioned how these roles are very taxing. By Christ, can you tell, within the first 30 minutes, maybe not even that long, everybody is just bonkers to the goddamn maximum. It was filmed in West Berlin in 1980, and you can see the Berlin Wall right there. Reagan smash, Reagan smash, Reagan smash, Reagan sleepy. Doesn't sound like Ronald Reagan at all. I apologize. So, the music was very synthy, very crazy. Isabelle Adjani, my God, she's gorgeous. Good grief. Why was she not more successful in U.S. films? I mean, I believe I've seen her in other stuff. And this is the first time I've actually seen the full cut of the movie. I've seen pieces of the edited version, and it was impossible to follow. Like, there were some versions that went all the way down to 85 goddamn minutes. The version on Shudder is like 2 hours and 4 minutes, 2 hours 4, 2 hours 5. And that's fine. That's actually about as much as you can get. They might have added a couple things off. Maybe pieces of footage you couldn't have been saved. Who knows? Because IMDb says it's at 2 hours and 7 minutes. But again, Isabel, my goodness, she's gorgeous. And she has to play one of the most iconic horror roles, at least of the last, 50 years. Like, she's just having to go absolutely insane, batshit insane. And it's hard to describe the plot, really. Basically, the way I can describe it is, while their marriage keeps fracturing, she is just doing her best to not lose it, but she's losing that battle spectacularly. She also plays dual roles. She plays a teacher that she has green eyes. My God, her eye color looks good, regardless. She plays a teacher trying to help out with the son, Bob. I actually wrote down, I said, everybody's bleeding. Screams are happening. What is going on? What is going on? I love it, but what's going on? And basically what ends up happening is Anna is sleeping with somebody else, and it's a guy named Heinrich, who is played by Heinz Bennett. And by the way, there's also a woman named Margaret Gluckmeister. It's a great name. That's a character name. Her real name is Margaret Christensen, something like that. So they really didn't have to do much roll call. Hey, Margaret. Oh, okay. Come play Margaret. Cool. She's a family friend or a friend of Anna. Really hard to tell. This thing jumps around a lot. And this is just captivatingly insane. Captivatingly insane might be the best goddamn way I can describe it. Heinrich was just weird, dancing around and getting all in his face and doing all this weird stuff like, I take care of Anna's needs. I respect you, but I am going to take care of your wife's needs. She's with me now. And Heinrich has some kind of weird backstory, too. Apparently where he was an interpretive dancer earlier in his life. And then, of course, you get the iconic thing, I can't stand you touching me. But also Anna has a weird apartment that's like in a dilapidated area, where it turns out she's killing people. Why is she killing people? Because they're trying to take it from her. What is it? This weird creature form thing that is something to do with what's driving her mad, or it's the driving force that's making her go insane, basically. That's basically the best way I can describe it right there. While this is a spoiler-filled review, I'm not sure I can spoil a lot of this. There were police. Where are the police? You don't stand too close to them. I do notice that. At one point, there's an uncomfortable slap fight where he slaps Isabel around a lot, and that was very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. Spousal abuse. No good. No bueno. But basically an allegory for a dissolved marriage. I mean, at least that's the interpretation I got from this movie. I could be totally off base. There is one good line between Heinrich and, I almost said Sam because he did make the pants too long, but Mark. Oh, hi, Mark. Oh, hi, Denny. There is nothing to fear except God. Well, whatever that means to you. To me, God is a disease, and they have all this stuff and everything. And then it's talk about God, because there's these bright lights and all this weird stuff going on. And could she be sleeping with the devil or a devil? Could she be sleeping with a demon? Could it be corrupting her? Because she ends up killing one private investigator that pretends to be an inspector to come and inspect her windows. And then there's this weird creature, slimy creature thing in the corner. She breaks a wine bottle and stabs him repeatedly. Ngay, 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 ngay. That doesn't look like stabbing at all. She's captivating and insane in this. I wonder if there's interviews with her on YouTube that I could watch on Save Clips and find out just exactly how she got herself into this role. But she's then talking to Mark. This is while things between her and Heinrich apparently aren't all that great, because Heinrich kind of disappears for a bit. And she's talking to Mark like, I have feelings for no one. Earlier she hit herself with a carving, or got herself in the neck with a carving knife. Then Sam did that to himself because they feel for each other and they're both insane and I don't know what's going on, but it's great. And then we get the iconic sequence that a lot of people have seen, where she's throwing her groceries around, she's spinning around, doing all this, and throwing herself against the wall, throwing herself against the floor, and all this, and panicking. And then it cuts back to her staring in the camera with her beautiful eyes. Good God, beautiful eyes. She really is. But staring at, the camera and talking about how she miscarried. It was something about 2 sisters. Just go ahead now. She miscarried something. And she keeps killing because these people keep discovering what's in her apartment. At one point, one of the other cops shows up that apparently was with the other cop that she killed earlier with the wine bottle, at least as far as I know. She ends up beating him with a whole bunch of cleaning solution and grabs his gun and shoots him. And then body parts are just in the fridge and all this stuff and everything. Heinrich eventually arrives. No one knows what the hell's going on here. Meanwhile, Mark, I think, is sleeping with Margaret, or implied he's sleeping with Margaret, who's got a cast on her leg from an accident, seemingly. And she also lives with them and is taking care of Bob. Poor kid. The kid's being taken care of by more people in the goddamn UN. Anyway, but Heinrich ends up getting there because he's been looking for Anna for a while. He leaves where his mother is at. Maybe he doesn't live with his mother. Maybe he just lives close to his mother. What he ends up doing is he ends up going and finding her in the apartment. And then she implies, hey, we should take care of each other. We should do this or whatever. But sometimes we're different people. We go all insane and everything. We all go a little mad sometimes. And she starts cutting him and then really stabs him with a knife. And then Mark finds Heinrich because Heinrich calls him. He meets him at a bar. He ends up basically beating him to death, clogging the toilet, beating him to death with the top of the toilet, the cover, and then flushes and drowns him. Why? Because he was sleeping with his wife, and also he is going to take care of his wife because Mark was in that apartment also and saw that stuff and was like, okay, I'll do whatever, I don't care. And Heinrich also saw the weird creature that by this point is starting to look like a bit of a mushroom without the head, and it just has the weird eyes and everything and all that. It's not like, Pan's Labyrinth where he had the eyes on his hands. Ow, that hurt. And then they're seemingly back together a little bit later, I guess. And then it turns out that Margaret's dead because she was trying to take it away from him. What is it? It's this weird creature that they end up going to Margaret's house, or actually rather Mark goes to her house, Margaret's house, and finds his wife banging this weird creature with a tail on it, but it's mostly fully forming to a human. I guess that's the only way she can be satisfied. Not by Mark, but wait, it's by somebody that ends up looking like Mark? No, really, that's the conclusion we reach. Before that, by the way, we get Heinrich. Heinrich ends up, being dead. The mother wants to pass because no parent wants to bury their child. And then suddenly the cops confront Mark. He gets away from them. And then he gets something. So I'm having to look at my notes here. I'm having to reference my goddamn notes because it's insane. They get the he goes to the house where Margaret's body is. It's in the trunk of the car that he took. And suddenly, he tells his taxi cab driver, hey, race into this cop car and blow it up. Okay, and then Mark dives out. Mark gets shot, but he manages to shoot some police. Or maybe he didn't. Something happened. Cars blew up. Nobody knows what's going on. Suddenly, Anna finds him after he gets shot up after, getting on a motorcycle. And this creature she's been confronting or been, fucking, it turns out is actually the evil form of Mark, I guess. Because she's nuts and possessed and everything. And then we get a shootout and then the evil Mark leaves. Something. And then Bob gets actually confronted in the apartment and tells the teacher, don't let him in. Much like the kid from the Babadook. Fuck that kid from the Babadook. I mean, just fuck the fact that he was so goddamn annoying is what I mean. We should have reworded that. But what ends up happening is everybody dies, and then he brings about the bubonic plague, or bombs, or whatever. Maybe East Berlin said, screw it, we're bombing West Berlin. The apocalypse is here! Possession, everybody, it was a lot of fun. It was weird. Did I describe it good? No, but let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Rickland. I'll see you soon.